Hey, hi, how's it going? If you've been here before and you're back for more, I appreciate you to my very core. But if you're new here, welcome. My name is Becca and I tell your own personal paranormal experiences through short stories. If you have a personal paranormal experience that you'd like me to share and be featured on this channel, make sure to message me on Instagram. The link is in the bio. Without further ado, boo, here is today's story. Kelsey and Morgan were best friends. They grew up together since they were in diapers and they absolutely were inseparable. Both girls attended school together in Idaho, and it was summer break, and Kelsey calls Morgan asking her if she wants to come over and hang out. So very excitedly, Morgan is like, I am on my way. So Morgan gets to Kelsey's house, and both girls decide to go play outside on the driveway since it was a really nice summer day. They're playing on the driveway, they're coloring with chalk, they're playing jump rope, and all of a sudden Kelsey notices a girl on a tricycle with long dark hair and a white dress coming towards them. Now, although that description could be horrifying for most, Kelsey and Morgan were both actually quite excited to have another friend as there wasn't a lot of girls in the neighborhood. So the little girl on the tricycle makes her way over to Kelsey and Morgan and introduces herself as Annie. So after a few minutes of getting to know each other, they realize that Annie's full name is Annie Anderson, and herself and her father are moving into the house that is being built just down the street. Annie then asks both girls, do you guys want to come over and see my house? And both Kelsey and Morgan are like, sure. So all three girls make their way over to Annie's house where they see Annie's dad standing outside the house, and he waves, and Kelsey and Morgan wave back. The house was in the process of being built, so it wasn't ready to move in just yet, but both girls, Kelsey and Morgan, were still really excited they would have another friend to hang out with. So after talking for another 20 to 30 minutes, Kelsey and Morgan got hungry. It was around supper time, so they said goodbye to Annie and headed back to Kelsey's house. For the remainder of summer, Kelsey and Morgan were both super excited to hang out with Annie, but summer came to a close and they hadn't seen her at all. So school resumes and Kelsey and Morgan are both sitting in their classroom when a new girl walks in. She states her name is Megan Anderson and she's new to the area. Both Kelsey and Morgan know instantly, oh, this must be Annie's sister. We need to go talk to her on lunch break. So lunch break comes, they rush over to Megan and they're like, hey, you must be Annie's sister. We met her on the summer and we were actually really looking forward to hanging out with her all summer, but we didn't see her at all. And very confused, Megan's like, you mean Janelle? And Kelsey's like, no, Annie. Megan would go on to say that she doesn't know anybody by the name of Annie. She has an older sister named Janelle who's in high school, but she doesn't know an Annie. So very confused, Kelsey and Morgan kind of just slough it off as to maybe they got the name wrong, who knows. So after school, Kelsey and Morgan got invited over to Megan's house. Once they arrived to Megan's house, they realized the house is now completely finished and they're living in it. So the girls go inside, and to their surprise, there's not a trace of Annie or the man that they waved to. So even though both girls were super confused, they decided to kind of just brush it off and hang out with Megan. So fast forward 5 years, and Kelsey's at home and she's sleeping in her bed when all of a sudden she's abruptly woken up at 3:18 a.m. She has no idea what has woken her up, but she's absolutely terrified. She's unable to move any part of her body. She's unable to speak. The only thing that she can move is her eyes. So pretty freaked out, she starts frantically looking around her room. So as she's frantically looking around her room, trying to figure out what is going on, that's when she sees Annie Anderson. That's when she sees Annie Anderson. She was floating in her mirror. She was wearing the exact same dress she was wearing on that day on summer break. Her hair was exactly the same. The only difference was she didn't have any feet. In a state of shock, Kelsey stared at Annie Anderson for a solid 2 minutes, floating in her mirror. It was this moment she knew that she wasn't a little girl that she had met on summer break, and she was something else. As quick as the sleep paralysis happened, it ended, and as soon as it ended, Annie Anderson disappeared. The following morning, Kelsey called Morgan, and before explaining to her exactly what she had just gone through, she decided to ask one question. She asked Morgan, do you remember the little girl we met? And before Kelsey can even finish her question, Morgan goes, Annie Anderson? So now Kelsey realizes this wasn't something that she had made up in her childhood imagination. Both of these girls met Annie Anderson. 2 years after this incident, Kelsey was driving home from work. On her way home from work, she would always pass by the cemetery, and she always admired the beautiful landscaping that the cemetery had. So as she always did, she was driving past the cemetery. She looked out her passenger side window to admire the mature spruce trees, the shrubs, and just the greenery. But that's when she saw Annie Anderson once again. She was crouched down, leaning up against the fence that surrounded the perimeter of the cemetery. She was wearing the exact same dress, and her hair was exactly the same. Once again, horrified with seeing Annie Anderson, she decided to speed up and get home as fast as possible. Once she was home, Kelsey would spend hours researching any correlation between an Annie Anderson and that cemetery. But after hours of research, she came up empty-handed. She did, however, stumble across a legend of that cemetery. The legend goes on to say that a demon walks the grounds of that cemetery disguised as a little girl. If you follow the little girl to her grave, the demon possesses your soul. As to how accurate that legend is, I guess we'll never know. But that was the last time Kelsey saw Annie Anderson. If you enjoyed today's recording, please tap that heart. It's super rewarding. Wishing you nothing but a beautiful, blessed day. See you on Friday. Bye-bye.